What's up, Bueller Buys? Bueller here again, and today we're going to be going over the weekly watch list. I'm not going to do a PDF today. We're just going to kind of go through it all together in video format, since a lot of the time I post PDFs. It looks like some people are still missing out on some of the info, so I just want to make sure we get through this correctly. But again, guys, I don't expect anyone to get any of this, first try. It is going to take many, many, many weeks, many months of preparation, practice, all that good stuff. So make sure you guys are actually taking time out of your schedule to practice this stuff. But today we're going to go through the chart while it's blank. I also want to go to the TA routine levels. I'll show you everything you need to have marked, and that's what we're going to do on that untouched chart. And then on my touch chart, the default chart, I'm not really going to touch this, but we'll talk over it. We'll actually start with this right now. But next week, and just to show you, what have we stopped with, we have pushed up to very heavy resistance on SPY. So you can see we have good emerging candles. There's a good gap range there. If I go to the Qs, you can actually see they have reached important resistance. They ended up filling this gap right here when they dropped, but then they also, when they gapped down, they ended up filling that gap in this most recent rally. And then they've also gone up and just about filled this gap. So no more gaps for the Qs, it looks like. They went up and hit just about every resistance they could on this rally, so great work. And I'm glad that we talked about this weeks in advance. I mean, it was only a couple months ago we talked about this, trying to build base, trying to hold the golden pocket, and potentially going and filling one of these two gaps first. And it looks like this one's going to possibly it, even though it's not perfect. So Qs, tech, the heaviest sector in the market, slowing down against this resistance up here, while SPY is down here. So there's a little bit of a lag move from from SPY to tech, sorry, and that makes sense. We've been seeing tech carry a little bit. While SPY has other sectors in it. You have healthcare, energy, financials, staples, industrials. There's just so many other sectors to worry about. So of course this is going to move a little differently in comparison to the strength of tech or the weakness in tech sometimes. So be prepared for the difference in that. But overall, that's what we're watching for Qs to either slow down or break through its resistance after a retest. That's kind of the same suit we're given SPY here, because we're put up in a very awkward spot. We haven't filled the gap, but we've been given a bearish candlestick pattern. So let's go over to that untouched chart and we'll cover it. But just before we move on, let's cover everything that needs to happen this week for bears and bulls. So bears are going to be looking to hold this dark cloud cover against resistance, and they're going to want to break the 380 70s, which is way down here. But they have a lot of other levels before that to worry about. They have the shoulder in which we kind of held before pushing up. That needs to be retested, so about 390. You have 388.50, and then we have a couple levels in between here which are not as important, but we have 380.50s way down here. So a pretty big range down here, in which we could probably just grab a control point if it does break that for any new levels in between that large range. But bulls are going to be looking to hold this general area right here and try to take price back through the 401.50, but to potentially send them to where tech is. Tech is sitting about right here. This is where SPY wants to probably be sitting with bulls. So bears looking to take out this support, or sorry, this resistance potentially turning support. Bulls want to continue to hold this potential resistance turn support to try and take prices higher. So we're kind of in a weird week, while also at the same time there's a lot of FOM stuff coming out, a lot of Fed reports, all that great economic stuff, of course. But then on top of that, you have earnings. You have Apple, Amazon, Microsoft. We have so many heavyweights of the market moving. So of course, as tech is trying to confirm where it wants to sit, SPY is going to also be given a little bit of, you can even say, uglier or more boring price action. But that's again why we're focused on the ranges. We're focused on the bigger levels here. So we know that no matter how we open or close, we'll have good levels to target towards. So if we end up, gapping down and we're under this level, we can look for bearish retest here or continuation under new lows towards that 380.50s. If we end up opening higher, we end up being here or even over the gap, then guess what? We're looking for bullish retest on some of these levels here, or for a continuation over a new high of day as we reach these further levels. So plans for both sides regardless of where we go. Let's go to the untouched chart and let's start over. So just to show you how I get that other chart, a main thing I always go for is this level, and we end up grabbing this one day in stream together. But we've been adding this level for weeks now, probably over a month or two. But 380.50 is very, very important. And then another thing to add is, where did we drop from and where did we pick up to? And so what we've been focused on is the 362 kind of 17 area right here, where we fell to when we fell, and then where we ran up to was right here. So I ended up marking this level here. It's about 390.25. Some people mark 390.50. That's totally fine. So we just have a good general range of where price was, where it was sticking, because that's where I'm getting that retracement from. that Fibonacci you saw me grab. I'm just grabbing the range of that low to that high. And we've held the golden pocket there. If you've been following along the channel in the top watches, channel which is free to everyone, by the way, there's been tons of PDF updates at the beginning of the week and during the week on what SPY needs to do for bulls and bears. Therefore, you're never left in the dark. You're always aware of what's going to happen. So since we've broken out of this range, I see that there is clear levels that are not on this chart, right? But I don't really want to go back to the far left. I just kind of want to focus on recent price action. We can go to the TA routine chart and add that all we want, right? So let's zoom in. Let's add some of these levels here. Since this is where our pivot point is, where we broke above the 9, I want to start grabbing emerging candles, because this is where we rallied, right? So let's grab those highs. And that gives us a bunch of really, really good levels above where price is. And you can see it's rejecting one of them right now, actually. If we highlight that gap range. If you want to highlight it, you can. If you want to add levels around it, you can. You don't have to do this every time we do it. It's just good to kind of just highlight for everybody. So we have both of our gap ranges at the top and the bottom. You can see we almost reached the top of it. Not quite. So potentially giving bears a huge chance to retest this 390.20s. If they end up breaking the 9 on the bigger time frames, they could definitely break into here. And let's see what levels are there. You know, if we don't feel like grabbing a TA routine level, let's just grab another fib and grab a halfway point. So we can see there is a clear level of resistance right there at 385.30s. Perfect. So we'll be watching that. Bulls are going to be looking to get over this gap range or continue to hold support. So we might have a weird slow open going into Monday. If we have a high open, I'll be surprised. But again, it doesn't matter if I'm surprised. We're ready for either side. We're ready for either push. Like I said, open, close higher, close lower, doesn't matter. We're ready. So that's where you're getting a lot of the information on that other chart. When you see me just kind of pull up the bigger time frame, this is the majority of the information that I end up grabbing. But we can clear this. And we can start over and do the TA routine. I'm going to pull my volume down because that doesn't matter as much right now. And like I said, please refer back to the other videos. Reach out to me. You know, ask me what videos do I need to watch to understand how you chart or how you're getting these levels. And I will link you plenty of stuff. Recent videos, old videos, a big playlist, all that good stuff. So you can see we have a huge level here at 338 from a before COVID dip, which is under current price, so I can definitely focus from there. Let's try to get a good level that's over price. So it looks like there's the Eve right here. Yeah, we'll go just from here. So about 420. So I'm just grabbing between two emerging candles so I can get it over price. And I probably won't start from that low. I'll probably go from this low. I'm about $30 under, about 20, almost 30 over. So we'll just kind of start there, but this is our range for grabbing the emerging candles. Let's just zoom in as much as we can so we don't have to worry about missing any levels. So zoom in as much as you can when you do this. So we had a break above, which if you want to add that you can, you don't have to. But we end up breaking up, hitting 362. Another high, another high, another high. And again, this might feel tedious or like you're adding way too many levels, but trust me, when you're on the smaller time frames, you're going to appreciate the fact that you went through all of these levels and have all this price history. It's crazy too, because there's hundreds of times in stream where I will literally stop what I'm doing and I'll go and I'll show you what level this is, and every single time I call out the date. It's always something from like, you know, 2020, 2021, sometimes we even see 2019. You know, so it's crazy the amount of help price history is giving us. Just by adding it. So we got that level, that level. And again, you see I haven't really grabbed anything out ordinary. You know, everything has been an emergent candle so far. I haven't added any control points. I haven't added any weird supports. You can see I'm probably a couple cents off on some of these levels because I'm just quickly doing it real quick and not zooming in all the way. When you zoom in more, you'll start to see, oh wow, my level is off a little bit. Just something you notice when you do it a bunch of times. And we're almost up to that 420s level that I was marking. So we'll stop there. And so you can see there's a lot. This is hard to look at. I don't even really know what I'm looking at anymore. You know, but what you're really looking at are just a lot of really, really significant levels. And view it, you know, on the bigger time frame, on the smaller time frame, and you'll start to see like, wow, these levels really do hit. Show these every single week. You know, this shouldn't really be surprising unless you're someone new in here now. So now let's look at this. Now that we have SPY on the smaller time frames with every level given needed, you can see just how well price action's been moving to and from. Pretty crazy. And we can zoom in, talk about it all we want. We can talk about price not holding this area, breaking down this area with volume. You can see it here. Then kind of just slowly trading, giving off a high and lower high against resistance, potentially showing they want to try and make a new low. Mark that new low. They end up breaking it with more volume, taking it down to the levels. And what do they slow down at? 394, 393.50, right above 392.60. So what looks like a bunch of levels on the bigger time frame is actually a huge help on the smaller time frame. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. But this is exactly how I get my levels every single weekend, every night before. And then in the morning, I'll adjust and I'll go over here and I'll add my previous day high. I'll label it PDH for previous day high. I won't add previous day low because it's right there where some levels are. Previous day close. Previous day close is an amazing pivot point, PDC. Previous day open, which is right here, which you don't have to add this, but if you want to, you can, just because it is a significant level. But there's already a pretty close level there, and you can pretty easily see it just because there's the open, and we dropped, and then when we reached up to, it was used again as resistance. So it's a pretty easy to see significant level, not hard to grab. And then going into the next morning, what I'll grab is my pre-market high, pre-market low. That's it. That's all I really need to grab. Sometimes if you don't want to add the extra levels, you can just add highlights. You don't have to actually add a level per se. If that's something that helps you. Another cool helpful thing, and you'll see this in many of my videos, is I'll go from the close to the high sometimes if they're close, and from the to the close to the low if they're close, which these are not. So, but that is the kind of the general picture I would be looking at. Trades in between here, from here, rejecting here, or as they're breaking above, holding on top, as they're breaking below, holding under. So very, very useful pivot points. Again, a pivot point is basically a fancy way of saying a swivel door. Anytime you guys have seen a industrial kitchen or you guys have seen a restaurant, they almost all the time have those doors that just swing open and swing out. They swing both ways, and that's exactly what these levels are. They swing both ways because there is no set angle that they're looking for. There's no set price. They're just looking to trade and give some good live price action off. So make sure you're looking and planning for both sides. You're not ever just looking for bear. You can be biased. You can even say, I am more bearish today, based on the bigger time frames, but also still plan something that's on the smaller time frame saying, all right, well, if it breaks this, we can look for small bullish opportunity here for scalps to blah, 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 wherever it is, whether it's above previous day close to this level here, just saying this small amount of information, that's still helpful. Because then there is a chance buyers can show up. You're not just instantly super bearish the entire day, because there's plenty of opportunity for both sides of the story each and every day. Right here at the end of the day, they ended up making a low and a higher low, potentially giving themselves a base build. What did they end up doing as they retook the 9 EMA? They had a slight rise in volume. So from here to here, buyers started stepping in towards the end of the day off of a base build, and they ended up taking it back up from, where is this? 393s up to the 395s. So not a huge move, but you can still see, even though it was bearish all day, buyers still had chances. Towards the end of the day, there was still some good buyer moves. So hopefully this helps you out. We can do a couple more, I guess. Everyone always loves doing Tesla, so we'll do Tesla since I think I need to redo it anyway. Let's look at the last week's price action. If I can click the right time frame. You can see I post Tesla a lot. There's a lot of really good plays for this. And you can see held against the resistance of the bull trigger, bounce off where I said to look for bounces, and then going into the next day after earnings, they were just killing it. So earnings not really doing a whole lot in the extended hours as much, but definitely doing that next day, they killed it. So very, very cool to see our levels hitting, but we'll start it over. And a lot of my levels are going to be from this, and you can see I'll unclear it. You can see all of my levels are from this far left side. There is no random levels. Sometimes I'll grab a support if I see there's a large range, or I'll grab a 50%, but I'll show you everything. So we'll clear that, and maybe we'll do one more, maybe we won't. We'll just see how long Tesla takes us. So I can see price is about right here, where we caught support. So I just want to get like a decent level in there, just to kind of give me a good starting point. So we'll just grab way down here at like 695-ish area. Grab that. and then let's start from there. And where is price at? It's at like 840s. So we'll go way up. We'll just finish it. We'll just finish off the chart like we did that other time. So let's zoom in. And I know this is tedious, but trust me. And anytime you see a big move like this, you know, because of course if you're on the smaller time frame, you're not going to say, all right, break below 816, let's target 735. Like, no, that's a huge range. There's two things you can do here. You can go from emerging candle to emerging candle and at a halfway point, or if there's a reset candle like in this case in between, you add the low of that reset candle, because that's a very, very important support. So I'm just going to leave both for example's sake, and in the future I promise we'll see those again. So we'll go check out 755 and 775 just for example's sake. Nothing being taken, nothing being taken, no new highs. There we go, more highs finally. Huge range there, I don't like it. Auto zoom back out. And you can see we have a pretty good amount of levels there. Still not finished. There's a huge gap here that we could highlight, even note in our notes. We could say, hey, between 836 and 864, there's a potential gap. And look where we gapped up to with a potential slowdown candle. Again, not saying this is going to send us down to the support. We're just saying it's potentially going to send us down to whatever breakout level we had, which would be 775-ish, 775, 750s-ish. So I would look for a move down this week on Tesla. If things do end up holding short term when we start over this gap range, potentially start to look for bullish momentum. But again, if this does gap up and start higher and continue on, that will be an unsustainable move, because you had a pretty good amount of consolidation here, but even your consolidations are going to need retest. So be on the lookout for that on Tesla on your bigger time frames. Let's go down to the smaller time frames and see what all can we add. So going into tomorrow, we're going to definitely need the previous day high. Very clean place level there. Previous day low is about right here. If we want to add it, we can. It's pretty close to another level. I'll add it just because. Previous day low, and then in the morning we'll add the pre-market high and the pre-market low, and we'll start adding some of those levels the next day. So what else? Is opening price or closing price there? Yep, opening price is pretty clear. No levels near it. Previous day open. And previous day close is way down here. If you want to add it, you can. 816 is already right next to it, so if you don't want to cluster your chart, just leave it how it is. But going into tomorrow, let's say Tesla opens, you know, here. We start to look under the PML. I'll probably add another significant level. And let's see, because I've seen this on a couple of our examples. There are huge ranges here, and what did I say was really good to do in between those? So seeing that there's a lot of room in between, what is this, the 817s and the 775s, let's go find that area. So between right here, there's a lot of room, right? So without making anything up, let's go grab some information. So go from that control point up to that emerging candle that we drew earlier. Actually right in that area I was talking about. And we have 796. Zoom on over. And see how it almost gets that support that we were kind of wanting to eye earlier? It gets it right there. And it looks like everything else is fine. Another huge range at 816 to 880. Let's add another control point in between just to give ourselves a good level. And again, this is just a good cheatsy method to kind of get levels on here quicker without making up anything. So now you can see it's not an as screwed range. You can go in there now. Whoops. We can go in there now, and there is a level in between 775 and 811 or 816. There is a 796 here, which as you can see was also rejected and then caught on top of 2 days ago before continuing higher. Go back farther just to kind of look at the level, see how they react. And each day, one more thing to add on to this, each day you are going to need to remove this level, your previous day open, your pre-market high, pre-market low, and then going into that next day, you'll be ready. So therefore, regardless of where we open, you know, here, down here, way down here, it doesn't matter. You have plans for both sides. You're ready to go. So now you have a pretty good bigger time frame picture of what might be going on SPY, on Tesla, and this is what you should start with. Start with the bigger picture. Just kind of do the not as ugly price action first. As you can see, just leave yourself an untouched chart, you know, if that helps you. Go up here, drawings, create a drawing set. You know, if it helps to have a lot more levels, you can see I have multiple drawing sets for keeping it ugly. Then it helps out a lot, you know. So give yourself that bigger time frame, just vibe of the chart really. And then when you go back down to grab your TA routine levels, you're just giving yourself a lot more help for when you're looking at the smaller time frame. So don't make this a lot harder on yourself. Seriously, this is actually a very easy method. It's just a little tedious. So make sure to go through your charts on SPY, Tesla, anything you're looking at. Do the TA routine in the morning. Add your BB system levels. Make sure you've already done this the night before or the day before. You know, it doesn't matter when. But give yourself time. Therefore, when into that next day, you're not totally thrown off by how we open or how the market may or may not look. You know, therefore, you're just ready to go with whatever level. So let's do one more. What's like a super high? What's a chart everyone likes to look at? AMD. We'll just do AMD. We did AMD. What's a fancy one everyone likes? Amazon. Let's do Amazon. I feel like we never do Amazon. And you can see I had a ton of levels there ready to go. And then we have the default, which just has kind of my general TA on here, which I posted this weeks ago. We've already talked about good updates. We had the breakout, the reversal back down that kind of just held as a higher low, as you can see. Ended up bouncing and then making that new high with not amazing volume, but pretty decent movement. So they ended up getting over that with the XLY sector overall, as well as Tesla having decent earnings, so taking them higher. So that helped them get up to known resistance. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's clear this chart, which we already did. So we see prices down here at 101s. We see current prices up here in the 122s. So we need to kind of start in this general area. So I'm going to go way over here. I'm all the way back in 2018 on this one. So let's just get us a good level that's under. Start working our way up. And I promise you will not find a more consistent charting method without using indicators, which you can see I have my 9 EMA on, but that's always just been on there as good side confirmation. You guys have seen that in hundreds of videos now. So it's nothing to completely focus on, it's just kind of a good side confirmation, especially on the smaller time frames. I really don't use as much on the bigger, besides just short-term swing signals potentially. So you see there's a large level in between here. I'll probably be coming back to add this. But let's just add it now just to see if it lines up or not. And that level is 111. Again, zooming out to see where I even am. Sometimes you lose yourself where you are. Zoom in. Price is up in the 122s. We're at the 140s, 150s now. So we can leave it how it is now. You can see we have a majority of the Amazon chart charted out from 94s up to the 160s. So tons of levels, tons of price action. You can see just how well it reacts. Look how many supports are right here. But it ends up hitting it, holding it again, making a higher low off of the already higher low hammer from that same support. And then they take another bullish move up to known resistance. We have a known resistance up here. So bigger time frames already covered, smaller time frames a little different. So today, or into tomorrow, we'll be adding our previous day high, our previous day low. On this one, I probably will add the close because it does have decent room. And the open's way up here, so we'll just leave it how it is. And then besides that, the pre-market high and the pre-market low. Therefore, no matter where Amazon starts, I have a plan ready to go. So if that we see a $4 move above 126 and a huge move under 120, let's go fix that using the same methods we talked about. So 120 to 15 and 126 to 30. We can see it right there. Right here, between here to here, there's nothing. So besides cheating, or besides going in there and grabbing a random level, let's cheat. Let's grab ourselves that halfway point. Again, giving ourselves a highly effective level because we have reasons for the other levels being there. And then what was the other one? It was 120s to 30s. Yeah, 126 to 30. There's nothing there. And by nothing there, I just mean something we haven't marked. There's clearly a level there. 128 will do. So let's go back down to the smaller time frame. And now the chart's a little more filled in. So we see if we have a break under 120.50s, which actually lines up with the 2-day ago low and a good higher low where prices end up pushing and holding on a rally base. That's a very, very strong level at 121.50. So as you can see, very, very significant level that we can look for downside movement. So regardless of us starting here, 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 way up here, it doesn't matter. We're going to be able to take trades regardless of the direction. We're planning for both sides. That's the most important part that a lot of people kind of miss out on. But that's what we're here to focus on more and more and more with the group, and this is all we talk about. So tons of really good levels on Tesla, Amazon, SPY. You guys are being given a general idea of what I like to look for, so go do this on your own. I never see enough people posting trade reviews. Hundreds of people in chat. I only see the same people posting trade reviews. Hundreds of people in chat. I feel like I only see a few names actually posting tier routine for others to see. So if you're too shy, DM me. You know, it doesn't matter that you don't want to post it in chat. You should still post it out somewhere so you can get it out there. Put yourself out there more. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want more like this, where it's more of a kind of weekly watch list kind of vibe for it, then let me know. Drop a like on this, drop a comment. But I'll see you guys on the next one.